Hello everyone, my name's Hunter at Vapor Honing Technologies. Today we're going to be shouting out Brett Raukema. Sorry if I butchered your name, but you commented on our YouTube video and asked if you can do a dry blast process first, a wet blast process after, and if the finish of the wet blast was going to come out the same if you did the dry blast first, then the wet blast, and did a two-step process. So we're going to be talking a little bit about this today. So as far as finish, you are basically going to get the same kind of finish that you're going to get if you went only with wet blast. It may vary a little bit because you have to keep in mind the dry blast system is cleaning by impact. So you are changing the tolerances on your metal. So you may not get as perfect or as smooth of a finish. Let's say if you were to use a Glass B, but you're gonna get that polished look that you're going for. Same thing with like aluminum oxide, you'll still get the same matte finish. You'll get surface roughness either way. Just keep in mind, since your dry blast is a little bit more of an impact-based process, you're gonna have a rougher surface with a finer abrasive than what you will in a wet blast, since it's done by flow with a finer abrasive. So the next question is why somebody would do this. So primarily, the main thing that I see and why people do this is speed. So if you have powder coated pieces or pieces that have a little bit more industrial of coatings on them, of course, your dry blaster is going to be faster at taking that off because it's cleaning by impact and not cleaning like by flow like a wet blast cabinet does. So that is primarily where we see this dual step used, where you do dry blast first, then you do wet blast, so that you can remove like old paint, powder coat, and then get a final finish or a final product out of a wet blast process. So to go over a little bit of the difference between dry and wet, like we've kind of highlighted in this video, your dry blast process is going to be an impact-based cleaning process. So it's going to be a speedier process due to the fact that it's impact-based, but that abrasive is contacting the part directly and cleaning by impact. In a wet blast process, the water is actually going to cushion that abrasive against the surface, not allow a direct impact. The abrasive is going to do more of a scrubbing motion and skid off of the part. So it's not directly impacting, which is safer for the part. In a wet blast process, it's not more about the speed, it's more about the appearance and the finish. So whereas with a dry blast process, it's going to be about speed. Again, wet blast is more about the finish. You also will see a little bit more of the advantages out of a wet blast process. With the wet blast process, you're not going to have the dust in your workspace. You're not going to have abrasive stuck in your surfaces. You're not going to have abrasive pack in tight areas. Metal removal, you're not going to face any tolerance changes. You're not going to have friction and warping because of the heat that's generated by the abrasive with it hardly impacting the surface. So it's safer for operators, safer for parts with the wet blast process, more so than the dry blast process is. But again, dry blast speed, wet blast finished product. That's what's most important about both of those processes. So we're back with our half and half piece. So this side is the wet blast side. So we blasted this in a very fine aluminum oxide, 80 PSI on both sides, dry and wet. Right here, this is our wet blast side. We will get a close-up of this so you can see how it looks close up. But if we turn this over and we look at the dry blast side, you can see how much rougher of a surface finish you get using the same abrasive because of the direct impact that's done in the dry blast process versus the wet. So water's cushioning the abrasive against the surface in the wet process, and this is your impact surface with the dry blast. Next, we're gonna blast the dry blast side with the same grit aluminum oxide in the wet blast, just to show you that you can get a very relatable finish. So as you can see, this is the side that was dry blasted previous to wet blasting. And this is the side we left alone that was originally wet blasted. So you can see that they're pretty similar in final finish here, but you can see that some of the inconsistencies in the surface of the dry blasted piece that was dry blasted before wet blasting are left there on the surface. So the wet blast was not able to clean that up completely. Some of those imperfections were left there. Again, that's because your dry blast is going to hardly impact the surface versus your wet. That's going to create more of a flow clean and just scrub the surface. We also have free application testing. So if you guys need your parts tested, don't hesitate to give us a call. We're happy to do that. Anywhere from like 1 to 3 parts we'll test out for you for free, determine which process, which abrasives, which machine would be the best for you. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate, give us a call. We're always happy and here to help. Our number is 828-202-5563.